Hi, everybody. I have with me today a great friend of mine, Alexis Haselberger. Hey, Alexis, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing very well. So tell us, what do you do?
So, I am a time management and productivity coach, which I know sounds boring to a lot of people. So, the way that I put it is that I help people do more and stress less so that they can accomplish everything they want, but also get rid of that stress at the same time.
So do more, stress less. Why not do less and stress less? So tell me.
That's kind of the goal, right? But I think when you ask most people what their problem is, they would not say that I need to do less, even if that's really the case, right? Their goal is that they're trying to get more of the stuff done that they want to. So, of course, when I work with people, part of it is figuring out how do we say no to the right things so that we can say yes to the right things also. But I think in general, people have this goal of wanting to be as productive as possible, but also to not burn.
That is true. And I see that with successful people, the more successful they are, the more they're driven, right? The more they actually want to do.
Yep.
So how did you get into the business?
Well, so I ran startup. I ran operations and HR in startups for the first 15 years or so of my career in Silicon Valley and San Francisco. And what I found during that time was that I have a superpower, and that is to get everything done without stressing out, right? I never worked long hours. I was really productive. And what I saw around me was that that wasn't the case for a lot of people. Certainly that people were very productive, but it was coming at the expense of long hours. It was coming at the expense of their personal lives. And they were feeling a lot more stress than I was feeling. I also had kids, and I saw all the people around me really stressing out about that as well. And, the pressures of that. And I wasn't stressed. And so I started coaching, what am I doing differently than other people? And what are other people who I see successful in this realm doing that is different than other people, right? So not
Right.
just also like, what do I see in the breadth of all the things I've read and see in other people, et cetera. And so, over time, people started asking me to do productivity trainings. And over time, I was working one-on-one with people to help them figure out their task lists and all this stuff. And then when the last startup I ended up working for, when we decided to shut that down, I decided that not only was this stuff the most fun for me because I'm a huge geek, like I was one of those 8-year-olds that was breaking out my graph paper to make myself a schedule, that also it was the most impactful to other people. I was hearing from other people that they had really been helped by the stuff that I had taught them. And so I decided to open a practice.
Okay, so you were with the startup, right? And you shared with me earlier that was kind of like a forced entry because the startup went belly up. Is that true?
Well, I mean, startups, right? So
Yeah, sure.
I've worked in Silicon Valley almost my entire career. I don't know if there are any of the companies that I've worked for who exist in the same format today, right? So
Right.
some of them have gone under, some of them, we decided to shut them down, some of them were acquired, they're like the thing about these companies around here is that, they either skyrocket to success or they flame out. So I knew that we were shutting down the last startup that I was at. I knew that because I was in charge of operations and HR, and so I had started formulating this plan about 6 months before we actually did
And now you have your own startup, right? So you're
that.
solopreneur right now, but I'm hearing that
Mhm.
you're doing actually very well, right? So you yeah, tell me about that.
I mean, yeah. So I feel like I came into this with no expectations. I just wanted to know. I'd been an employee all my life, and so I'm a little scared about going out on my own and what that would mean. And I don't have a background in sales or marketing or anything like that. And what I've proven to myself over the last year and a half is that this is a business that I can make work. Right.
Right.
I don't have to go get another job. There's both enough demand and I'm having enough success with my clients that they're starting to tell other clients. And now, much of my clients are coming from word of mouth from previous clients.
Yeah. So it's super interesting to me because most women that I work with,
Yeah.
when they're at that stage, right, either because they're in corporate and they want to leave or they have to leave, whatever, their two biggest concerns, right? One is that what am I going to do? I know I want to make a difference, but I'm not sure, what my unique ability is and where I can make a unique contribution. And second, which actually even the first thought very often, how do I make money fast, right? Because still have to pay, you have children, so you still have to pay for college or school or, mortgages, bills, whatever. So, so what was your decision-making process?
So I'm lucky enough to also have a partner who has a job, although he also has founded a startup as well. So it's, it's instability. But I'm a good saver, and I knew this business wasn't going to have a lot of expenses. And so I had enough savings that I gave myself a specific ramp up time. And I said, by a year from opening, I need to be making enough money on a monthly basis that I can support myself and my part of it. And I was able to do that. So
I just read a statistic earlier that I think 97% of coaches do not exceed like $60,000 in revenue. And I know that you have surpassed that, right? Yeah. So what makes you different?
What makes it different? I think, part of it is that I realized I really didn't want to work for someone else again. Like that was not a thing that I wanted to do. And so I really had to step out of my comfort zone and just do a lot of uncomfortable things. When I first started this business, I emailed every single person that I knew, including people I hadn't talked to since high school, right? Which feel good. Like that's not the way I first want to, meet someone again, is like, hey, I'm doing this. Can you help me in some way? I started going to conferences and just pitching myself to literally everyone that I could, not in a way to get their business, but just in a way to get me comfortable talking about myself and what I did.
Right, and I saw you 2 months ago, I think, right? And then,
you saw me speak at a conference. Yeah. And so, I think for me, I just realized that if I want to make this work, if I want to do something that's been different than my previous life, I have to do doing that feel really uncomfortable to me. And going out there, going out of my way and talking about myself in a way that, now feels comfortable, but didn't really feel comfortable back then. I think, I certainly haven't mastered a recipe for success yet, but I think if I could, if I would give any advice to other people, it would be do the things that are super uncomfortable and surround yourself with people who are also having goals like yours so that you can iterate on things and be like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this program, like poke holes in it for me, please. Right? So that you have people around you who are also striving.
That's right. Yeah. And I'm just writing a new post, right, where I just say that, and or even better, I had a meeting with like network marketers that sell like essential oils, right? I said, like, you need to bring like additional $5,000 by the end of the month. Is the first thing that you're going to do work on your website, right? And and you will be surprised how many people say yes, right? But you did the exact opposite, right? So
because you can't, you're totally right. Like you have to really think about, and it's interesting because this is what I teach also, right? But you have to think about, are the activities that I'm doing during my day supporting my stated goals, right? Or are they not? Because, would I like to just sit around and write blog posts all day long? Probably that would be pretty fun for me. But is that something that's going to drive my business forward on a daily basis? No. Like writing 1 or 2 blog posts a month is sufficient for that.
Right. Exactly. And, people say like, Andrew, you're on Facebook all the time. It's like, no, I spend like 3 hours max a week. Right. Yeah. If you do it right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So who are the clients that you serve?
So my clients typically fall into 3 buckets. People, entrepreneurs, or have been entrepreneurs and are now at companies, but that entrepreneurial spirit, people who want to take on a lot, really. I also have a lot of clients who fall into the kind of mid to high level manager. So directors, senior managers, VPs, that sort of thing. And often people who have been really successful in their roles and have kind of gotten to an inflection point where maybe their team has doubled, or, they had a baby in the middle of this, or something has changed so that their old systems don't work anymore and they really need new systems because, maybe they didn't have systems, maybe they were just brute forcing their way through life, and then all of a sudden there's too much to handle. And then working parents is also another, just, that also spans those other two categories. But just in general, working parents are people that have a lot of obligations, right?
Right.
And also, for me, getting all the stuff done, that's important, but also incredibly important to have time for yourself today, right? To have some mental space and to really make room for that, because why are we working if not for that?
Exactly. And again, I pride myself that both of my sons, my oldest is 24, my youngest is 8. Yeah. Once I left the corporate world, I had time for them for breakfast, pick them up at school. Yes. Do I work until after midnight sometimes? Yes. Right. But we have that flexibility and the most important things in life, right? And I think you teach that too, like what matters most. But tell me about it. How do you manage? You're a mom, right? You have 2 kids.
Yeah, I have 2 kids, 8 and 10. So we both have 8 sons, I guess.
Right. Easy thing to manage. I'm kidding.
There's not any energy at all with those 8.
Yeah. So how do you, tell me a little bit, how do you do that? When if you're as a model coach and consultant, you're already more successful than the vast majority of them, and you have 2 kids, right? So tell me, what's your secret sauce?
I mean, for me, I think actually one of the biggest mindset things that is important for me and that I teach clients is that it's going to sound a little morbid, but we're never going to get it all done, right? Never. We are going to die someday, and we're going to have a long list of all the stuff we didn't accomplish. And so what becomes incredibly important is having frameworks to prioritize all of the stuff that you have. Because what is really important is that every day that the stuff that you did get done was more important than the stuff that you didn't get done.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's it. It sounds simple. I mean, it's not that simple, but it sounds simple, right? But I think that's, for me, I try to work in terms of logistically, how do I do it? I'm lucky enough to have a babysitter who helps drive my kids around. That's a huge something that I sacrificed for, right? It's not an easy thing, but that's what allows me to get the work in that I need to get. I end up working, I don't know, somewhere between 6 and 8 hours a day. And then I really focus on, after 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, I'm with my kids until they go to bed. And I'm cooking and I'm around and I'm doing stuff. And then, on most days, I actually spend time with my husband after that, and I don't work till the next day. But sometimes, just like you, I might have a big deadline on something and I might work until midnight, but after the kids go to bed. And so I really just try to prioritize making sure that I have time with my family every day and time for myself every day, because I feel like that helps me be even more productive during my work hours.
All right. Awesome. So you practice what you preach. How can get people in touch with you?
So my website is the best way to get in touch with me, which is Alexis Haselberger, which no one can spell, .com. But you can put that in the notes, I think.
Yeah, and you put that here, and either here or here or here, wherever you watch it, right? So, yeah.
Wherever it is, it's going to be around somewhere. So it's alexishaselberger.com. And you can subscribe to my free newsletter there. You can interact with me and find out ways to get in touch. I also have an online course on Udemy, which is another way. It's called Do More, Stress Less.
Okay.
And so that's really the best way. But I would love to hear from people, hear what they want to listen, what kind of topics are they interested, etc.
So yeah, Do More, Stress Less on Udemy. I get your newsletters all the time. I thoroughly enjoy them. And guys, girls, if you want to get things done and focus on what is most important and what matters most, Alexis is your go-to person. So thank you very much, Alexis, for sharing your story with us. That was very inspiring. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Andrew. It was great to talk to you.
You too. Bye.
Bye.